And welcome in to Press Box Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles. Gary Stein has the night off. I want to remind you that Press Box Live every Monday and Wednesday, these Zoom video interviews that we do, brought to you by C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. I know these people that own C3 American Exteriors. I like them. I trust them. And when it comes to your home, you probably won't have a more important or expensive expenditure than your roof. So trust the best, C3 American Exteriors. Joining me tonight are two folks that are into a very interesting event that's coming to Maryland come October. And one of the folks joining me tonight is my friend Terry Hasseltine. Terry is the director of Maryland Sports. Terry, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Stan. Thanks for having me.
All right. And you've brought along somebody that you've known for a long time, and you actually were in a position as director of sports for Maryland when this event, the five-star event, came into being. That's going to be held out in Fair Hill this October 14th through the 17th. You were in a position looking for somebody to lead the charge out there, and you tabbed Jeff Newman. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stan. It's a pleasure to be here.
I've got to start. This is an ironic thing. When I gave you these dates, I said, well, we could do it the week after the Preakness or the week before. And because of your schedule, Jeff, we opted to do it on the 12th, which is 3 days before the Preakness. I got to start out with a question about the Preakness to Terry. Terry, Preakness is still the biggest event in the state of Maryland, yearly event on our calendar. How's it looking for this year, and how are things looking for the future of Pimlico?
Well, this year's event obviously is moving forward, on its chosen date as part of the Triple Crown. The facility is, still the Pimlico that we know on Old Hilltop, and they're getting ready to welcome about 15,000 folks in total when it's all said and done for a day of racing on Saturday for the Preakness, and then obviously a smaller environment, but just as equally important as Black Eyed Susan Day on Friday, which is very significant. But yes, the Preakness being the largest sporting event that we have on the books on an annual basis, the third longest running sporting event in the United States. The Westminster Dog Show and Derby being 1 and 2, and that's continuously run events in the United States. So very important to the fabric of Baltimore, very important to the fabric of the state of Maryland. And that's why you saw the legislature tap the Maryland Stadium Authority to direct the future of Pimlico. And, our team at the Stadium Authority is doing their due diligence, with the appropriate authorities to make sure that that project is launched in the right way. The right people are in place, and to make sure that, the Preakness stays in Baltimore and the state of Maryland for many, many, many years to come in a brand new redeveloped and configured facility.
All right. Jeff, I bring you on now. You're the president and CEO of the Maryland Five Star. And I have to ask you, I was looking at your resume, so to speak, not that you were applying for a job with us, but I was looking at what you've done. Your history is, your career is very fascinating in the sports eventing world. And I've got to start off with one question. What we've gone through as a globe and in the United States for the last 14 or 15 months with the pandemic, do you think that it's a blip in the radar screen about people attending events, or could this have some deleterious effect on the ability to get people out to events?
Yeah, it's a great question. And no doubt we've all been through one of the most challenging times in the live event sport, live entertainment industry. But, I've always believed in the power of live events. I've been a part of it now for over 25 years. And certainly people's, patterns have changed in terms of wanting to spend more time at home. But, once you get out to a live event, there's no experience like it. And I think eventually, as people get more comfortable that experience will be desired and people want to come out. But certainly we got to respect people's health and safety, and we got to respect what people are now accustomed to. So everyone has to adjust to make sure that people are comfortable coming out to events and being as accommodating as possible in terms of different protocols to host live events.
In looking at your career, Jeff, you've done tennis, a lot of tennis around the Washington, D.C. area, the Military Bowl, the BB&T Basketball Classic, golf events, Olympic skating, running, volleyball, and musical events. I don't see anywhere on there that you have eventing, like steeplechase eventing, like at Fair Hill. Was this a brand new experience for you when you were hired by Terry?
Yes, I've known Terry for a long time, and we've done actually a beach volleyball event in Louisville, Kentucky, one of the coolest events I worked on, actually. And so he and I have kept in touch over time. And so, as any live event producer hopes for, is a great story to tell. And so this event is truly unique in that there's only 7 in the world. Secondarily, the Maryland horse industry is something that has great tradition and interest, of course, here in Maryland. And then on top of that, a brand new facility called the Fair Hill Special Event Zone that was created to host world-class events. So when you're an event producer, you hope for a great story, a great venue, and something unique that you don't see in a lot of places. And so when Terry had presented the opportunity to be a part of something like that, again, as an event producer, I just jumped all over it because I think there's such a unique opportunity to present something that not too many people have seen, in these parts. Most people are used to racing, but in the sport of eventing as an international multi-day competition, it's something truly unique. And like I said, it's a rare opportunity to be a part of something like this.
And not to put any pressure on you, but Terry has said on several of these Zooms when we talked to him about the 5-star event that it's got a chance to be as big, or if not bigger, than the Preakness eventually. And Terry and I have had discussions. Of course, the difference is the Preakness is a one-day event, even though the Jockey Club has done a thing with the Black-Eyed Susan on Friday. It's really one day that people come for out of town. Your thoughts on how big this event can potentially be? And I'm not talking about in year 1. I think you'll do well, but year 4 or 5, this really could explode, couldn't it?
We hope so. I mean, Preakness is an unbelievable event. We wouldn't compare ourselves to that. I think we want to create our own identity and just become another tentpole event for Maryland. The potential is certainly there because we've seen the other event that's in Kentucky called the Kentucky 3-day event. It's been around since the 70s, and over time, through the infrastructure they've created, they've been able to accommodate 80,000 spectators on an annual basis. The events that are over in Europe, in the UK, where there's also unbelievable tradition back to the 60s, they attract anywhere from 100 to 125,000 people. So the potential's there, the interest is there as a sport, and seeing it at other venues and other cities around the world. So we know that that's possible, and we hope to get there over time.
Terry, you've got an interesting, and I know Jeff's probably sort of the point person on marketing, but you have a very unique marketing situation with this, with the 5-star event, is that you need to let people know when it is, but to a large extent, you got to let a lot of people know what it is. How difficult is the marketing for this event? Getting the message out and making sure people understand what it is in an intelligible way.
Well, that's one of the unique challenges. And when we looked at, the opportunity of this event and winning the rights to it, that's why looking for someone with Jeff's background and skill set was critical to, our ultimate success. Jeff hit it well when he said, great story to tell. And part of the marketing strategy is telling the story of not only the equestrian industry, but how important the equestrian industry plays off of eventing and racing and how all these things play off of one another. And if you can get all of these subsectors of the equestrian world talking and communicating on various platforms, it starts to resonate out into the general public. So our goal is to create a grassroots campaign explaining what 3-day eventing is. I mean, unless you grew up around it or you grew up in the horse industry, very few people will know about it. But it's a really cool subset of 3 events. It's got the finesse of horse skating, which some people call horse dancing, horse skating. Then you got this really tough endurance component in the cross country where they're running over large obstacles, things that you and I as humans wouldn't challenge. And same rider, same horse, doing that. And then the last day you put the agility plus the finesse plus the endurance against it and show jumping, and you put this culmination together, same rider, same horse, all 3 days. It's quite a feat. And the fact that you put on top of that men and women compete equally. And I think that's a huge plus to the equestrian sport and eventing, is the fact that men and women compete head to head, because the main athlete is the horse, but the orchestrator is the rider, the one that gets the horse to maneuver in the way they want to. But when you go out there and you see the beauty of the horse and you see the same rider, whether it's a man on the back or a woman on the back, they're competing against the same end goal, which is to be standing at the finish of the 3 days with the best time and the best score of the weekend.
Jeff, to turn the question to you about how to market this event and get people aware, at the end of the day, in most of these other events, the 6 other venues, do they attract the same people over and over again, or are they always trying to get new people? And how will that play out at Fair Hill? Will you be attempting to get a lot of new people there, or will it be people that have done, in that crowd?
Yeah, it's a great question. First off, it's simple messaging, as Terry alluded to. We want people to know what the event is and where it is. First of all, where it is in Cecil County in Northeast Maryland. It's just 45 minutes outside of Baltimore. It's only 40 minutes from Philadelphia, and it's literally on the border of Delaware, about 10 minutes from the University of Delaware. So it's really accessible to get to, first off. Secondarily, we want to communicate that this is a multi-day competition, an international competition. And so people come from all over the world to see these events. We're basically like the grand slams of tennis and golf. So like Wimbledon and the Australian Open, the French Open in tennis, or the Masters, there's only a few of these grand slams. And so as a 5-star, we're one of very few. So a lot of people travel from all over the world to sort of check the box and said, I've seen each one of those. So I do think the crowd is different each year, because you get people that want to see these grand slams of the sport, but you do get your core audience, of course, people that are eventing fans. They want to consistently see the best of the best year in and year out. So I think, based on some other events like Kentucky, from what we've heard, 80% of their crowd comes from outside of Kentucky. So it's a real opportunity for Maryland to attract new people to the state and really be a stimulus for the economy.
Now, you have out there at Fair Hill, you've redone a totally new course out there, and it's called the Fair Hill Special Event Zone. What was necessary about doing that to attract this 5-star? Is it a more rigorous, or is it more beautiful? What is inherent about the new course?
Well, it's an absolutely beautiful property, first off, and to see
Fair Hill is just absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. For people, especially coming off the pandemic here, as an outdoor event in the fall in the country, it's just going to be literally a breath of fresh air for people. However, as far as the difficulty, as we talked about, this 5-star competition, there's only a select amount of riders and horses in the world that can compete at this competition level. So you're going to see some unbelievable obstacles that these horses and riders and athletes have to overcome. And you'll see water complexes and enormous jumps, and it's a 4-mile course, that they have to go through. So that presents a great opportunity. Think about a golf course, but now having horses on it, and it'll involve tailgating and the opportunity to get really up close and personal with these athletes. So yes, the facility had to be created in a way to accommodate that type of level of competition, and we can't wait to unveil it. It's going to be something special.
I'd like to
Terry,
add to that, Stan, if you
you
don't
sure
mind,
can.
is
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
think what was special about the facility is that, as we alluded to earlier in the conversation, we had 30 plus years of history on a really great event, but it was tucked away, in this beautiful, countryside, and no one could really, see it. So there was not this natural aura of like saying it's there. Where we moved it over to the special event zone allowed us to accommodate a couple, pieces of the equestrian puzzle. On the north side, you have the one of the world's best training centers for thoroughbred racing and horses in general, with the therapeutic center over there. And this is directly across the street. So now you have this new redefined turf course for steeplechasing and timber racing. You add in the elements that are needed for the 5-star, which are the rings at the highest level of competition, and this new brand new 4+ mile cross country course. And you put that together with where the training center logistics. Now you've created a place and an epicenter that people want to get to, because there's so much more to entail, and the thoroughfares that go through that area of Cisa County, you can see it from the road. So it's a natural eye opener saying, what's going on there? And maybe I should stop in and take a peek for myself, where before, like I said, awesome event, a lot of history and culture, but you had to be looking for it.
Terry, when you're trying to bring events, and you and I kid about this, we've already known each other like 13 years. You've been here, and you pulled the rare trick of being able to be hired by a Democrat and work under a Republican, and I think you'll be here for a long while working for whoever's the next governor.
I hope so.
But after all that flattery, um, when you normally present to the state that you have a chance to bring something in, uh, does it normally cost as much money as the state has put into investing in this event? I mean, they've put in $20 million to redo this whole and create this special, the Fair Hills Special Event Zone.
So
Go
going to a
ahead.
sport that you love, Stan, this one threw a little bit of a curveball. And the
Okay.
reason why is that back in 2007, there was discussion about creating a horse park in Maryland,
Okay.
and to compare to the Kentucky horse park. But that never got off the ground. It sat dormant. So back in 2012, 2013, the Horse Industry Board rekindled the idea of creating a horse park system. And when they created the horse park system that got a lot of merit behind it, they created the indoor space down at Showplace Arena and down in Prince George's County. They created Fair Hill as the outdoor equestrian facility, and they created all these experiential and education centers across the state. And when they did that, Pipeless and Crossroads came in and did an analysis of that opportunity, and it identified this parcel of land at Fair Hill for this development. But if you go back to that study, you'll see all the components for the 5-star were there. They were just laid out differently. So there was going to be some investment by the state to evolve this project. We came in and said, hey, if we can synchronize this the right way, we can be available and ready to roll for a 4-star. But then, as I mentioned, in our pre-conversation, then the FBI reclassified the star system, which led to us now hosting a 5-star. So there was some movement about this investment happening at the state level long before the 4 or 5-star came into play. But it gave us the catalyst we needed in order to bring an event to this magnitude with this kind of recognition as being only 1 of 7 in the world to fruition. So yes, it's not common that you go and say, hey, we can go after a big event as long as we can write a big old paycheck to build a new facility. Right. But because that was already in play, and we saw some of the energy moving in that direction, it opened the doorway for us to pursue this. And the state was there, and the private sector jumped in, and it's still continuing to jump in to help us find the niche gaps of where we still got to get some things funded.
But they clearly wouldn't have put this type of investment into it unless they expected to get a long-term return on that investment, correct?
Well, exactly. I mean, really what the bid on at that time, the 4-star did, it expedited the movement forward on getting it done, where as well as I do, sometimes projects like this take years to develop. Yep. Well, because we won an opportunity, it allowed us to put a stake in the ground and say, hey, we got to do it now. And because we did it now, that's why the FEI looked positively on us to award us this event.
Jeff, your folks today had a press conference, or at least a press release. You announced that the prize money for this year's event is $300,000 for the inaugural event. Is that on par with the other 6 events around the world, or is it a little bit shy in year one? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, we wanted to get the prize money out because this is when riders and competitors and athletes throughout the world start considering their schedule, especially post-Olympics. So it's important for us to get that word out, to start getting on people's schedules. As far as the prize money in relation to others, in this year, it's high because most events have had to scale back. In typical years, for other 5-stars that have been more mature, it's less. So it's more than some, less than some. So we're about right in that sweet spot in the middle of what most of the other events have. But for this year, it's a significant prize money that we're offering.
I noted when I did my research last night, the event in Kentucky is called the Land Rover. The one in Great Britain, one of the two, the Mitsubishi Motors Badminton Horse Trials, the Land Rover Burghley Horse Trials in Great Britain, the Longines Low Moulin Horse Trials in Germany, and L'Etoile de Paul in France, Mitsubishi in Australia. Will this event in short order have a title sponsor?
We are looking for a title sponsor. Right now, of course, being named the Maryland 5-star at Fair Hill and the incredible investment that the state has made, we're always going to continue to have Maryland in the name of the event. That will always be there based on the incredible efforts that have taken place to date. But yes, we are looking for a lead sponsor. I think the fact that things are turning around in terms of the ability to have spectators now, and the fact that the vaccine rollout has gone so well here in Maryland, gives us the ability to start having more in-depth conversations with potential corporations, because clearly spectators is an important component. We will be live streamed to the world. We will have broadcast television as well. So it's a unique opportunity for corporations to be a part of something truly different and exciting. And it's a big win for Maryland. I think Terry had alluded to this. There are cities around the world and countries around the world bidding for this one opportunity to get another 5-star. And Maryland got it. And Maryland got it for the very reason of the new Fair Hill Special Event Zone and the tradition of the equestrian industry here in Maryland. So it's definitely a unique opportunity for companies to come on board to something that, again, you can only say happens in very few cities in the world.
That number, Terry, 7. Do you have any kind of assurances that it's going to stay at 7 for the foreseeable future, or could they suddenly say, hey, we'll go to an 8th and a 9th place or something like that?
There's never any guarantees on events, long term and what might happen with them. We feel very confident for the foreseeable future that 7 is going to be the magic number. I think Jeff alluded to in some of his comments earlier, there are only so many athletes who can compete at this elite 5-star status. And, as the sport, continues to grow and people start to recognize it, it becomes, more commonplace, the sooner you see more athletes being able to enter into the 5-star realm, that's when you'll see a time of warrant for, the growth and maybe additions into the circuit. But I think Jeff was spot on. I mean, this is the grand slam of, eventing. And right now we want to show the best that Maryland can offer. And I think we have the right team, and I think we have the right leadership in place and to ensure that, others down the road will want to emulate what Maryland's doing. And, that's because, we're taking the necessary steps in the process to ensure stability and, providing a facility that can grow with the event. And I think that's one of the unique factors that we have too, is the fact that we're going to put on an event. And I know it's giving Jeff a lot of headaches right now because we have to build a lot of infrastructure out there for the first few years. But I think what's really neat about it, and I don't know if he feels the same, but allows us to see how people operate and manage around the complex before we start putting some permanency out there at the facility. So it's part of, I think, the growth strategy is that we get a chance to test our grounds before we start cementing things into the ground. And I think that's a pro, but I also think it's a con because we have to take on all this infrastructure in the first several years in temporary overlay. And I know, Jeff's hair used to be like, and then because of this event, now it's really tight. So, I'm telling you, Stan, he's going to make some magic happen out there. His team is equipped, and really well assembled. And, we got some obstacles to overcome, but every major event of this magnitude that is facing coming off a pandemic will have those same issues.
I want to talk to you about your team in just a minute, Jeff, but I did have to ask you, the pandemic, you guys were prepared. You would have been prepared to host this event last October, and you found out, I guess, by about April last year that, or was it a little bit later than that, that there was no way it was going to go on. How were you able to use that time to get sort of ahead of the game, or is it still like, hey, God, we got to hurry up. We don't have that much time left.
Well, I think last year when we made the decision not to host the event, primarily it was because we didn't want the first year to be an event behind closed doors.
Yeah.
We wanted to have the event, to have the opportunity to have an event open to the public. So in hindsight, it really turned out to be the right decision in that regard. However, as a blessing in disguise in a way, is that it did give the facility more months to mature in terms of the turf, the footing that's out there, the arenas, to really become what we all hope it to be for the competitors in its first year as well. So it really gave the opportunity again for the facility to become what we hope it to be for the first time competitors step foot on it. We did a test event last August in order to showcase that the facility, what it had to offer and the uniqueness of it. And it went extremely well. And we got approved by the FEI, the governing body of the sport, to then be on the calendar for the next 5 years. So it helped us, again, test the facility and give us the ability to be most successful in its first year.
I was just reading something the other day that Fair Hills is not going to have its normal summer run this year. Did I read that correct?
You did.
And my question is, so what existed before the Fair Hills Special Event Zone, what existed before, is that still out there where the 3-star was, or did this whole new structure take that away?
No, that the parcel where the 3-star existed still is out there. It'll be used in a modified format moving forward. And like I said, we did the modification to the oval track for the flat and jump racing out at Fair Hill. It just was a matter of some timing with what was going on with the pandemic in conjunction with, as Jeff alluded to, some maturing of the facility. Yep. They needed me to make a tough decision about whether, the track was ready to run this Memorial Day weekend when there's so many things still up in the air, and trying to make all that judgment call on operations and logistics associated with it. So the call was let's let the facility have another few months, because at the end of the day, the first thing that's a Christian that's facility is the thing that helped get it built is the Maryland 5-star. So no pressure on Jeff to deliver the 5-star in October, but when it's all said and done, so much of the effort and the energy around getting this thing built in a timely fashion was around the 5-star. So christening the facility with a 5-star makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. So we're really proud that, of what we're about to showcase in October, but also that we got a team and people behind the scenes that are understanding the scope and the magnitude of what we've gotten ourselves into, and, and making some tough decisions, but they're good decisions long-term for the facility, good decisions for the long-term of the team, good decisions for the long-term of the athlete and the people that are going to compete on this beautiful facility.
Before I ask you a little bit about your team, Jeff, you when you started working here as president and CEO of the Maryland 5-star, you were pretty new to this sport, the eventing sport. You see now, is there any coordination between these other 6 events and this 7th event now, the way in thoroughbred horse racing, there's the Triple Crown, or in tennis, there's the Grand Slam events. Is there something that connects these things other than just saying, hey, we have a 5-star?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there is a lot of collaboration between the sport. The United States Equestrian Federation has been really, really helpful in giving us best practices and what has been successful at other events. They also have recommended that each event has its own identity. So we want to make sure we create our own identity as well, and unique to Maryland. But there is definitely collaboration because everyone wants to see the sport of eventing become more popular worldwide, and in particular in the US. It's one of the reasons why having a second 5-star in the US will help elevate the athletes and hopefully become Olympic winners. And once that takes place, it becomes more of hopefully a household name sport. But they are individual events, so each event has created its own history and traditions. But I have found it really helpful that people are willing to help and they just want to see another event be successful.
We had an event here, and Terry, you'll help me. Was it 6 or 7 years ago? The auto race downtown, the Grand Prix. And I got down there, and I'm at the event, and it was the first time I'd ever been at an auto race, and here come the cars, and then they zoom by you, and then, okay, let's go back to eating and drinking and talking. And then like about 35 minutes, here come the cars. Is there some way for somebody that's attending this event or on television, for television, to have an event such as this where you get the whole sense of what's going on while you're there?
Yeah, I mean, I can help answer that. What makes the sport so unique is that it's a triathlon. It's like the Ironman competition for horses.
Okay.
Each day is a different type of competition. So the first day and second day is dressage, which is basically gymnastics and figure skating for horses. So you're around an arena setting. And then the Saturday, if you get to the next level of the triathlon, is all about cross country. So you get to follow these horses from obstacle to obstacle. And or you could stay at one obstacle, or you can follow your favorite rider, just like golf. You can stay at one hole, or you can follow your favorite golfer. So that's what, the Saturday brings. And then Sunday is show jumping, which is just unique in itself and all about, precision and accuracy. So you get to see something different each day. And so it provides a unique viewing experience. And you're telling a story, like we said earlier. So you have to get through each phase in order to be the winner. So we hope and encourage people will come out each day because they'll see something different each and every day.
How about on television? Is there a way to televise this event so you get the sense of what's going on, Terry?
Yeah, I mean, it's been one of the biggest factors that we've been discussing is that, the neat part about it is, you got some components that can be obviously a part of this tape delayed, built for, TV. And then you got the cross country, like, Jeff was alluding to, it's golf. So you're following your favorite horse and your favorite rider around the course, or you're getting, situated in on watching one of the toughest, and golf as the whole is the toughest, obstacle on the course. And, between live streaming and broadcast, there's a unique opportunity to capture this sport, in a very unique way. So it's made for live, but it's also made for repackaging. So it has, two sides to it because it's really cool to watch, while it's happening. Right. But then, those who, get to go home and you see the showcase of how they put the 3 days together to get the victory. That's a really cool feature that you can't do in every sport either.
Terry, I got one more question for you, and then I am going to circle back to Jeff to find out a little bit about his team before I let you guys go. Okay. I've known you long enough that whenever we're talking about an event that draws people into the state of Maryland, a lot of it is not just the event, but it's how much money people will spend, in where they stay, where they eat. Is there are some new things around Fair Hill to host these people or to house these people?
So one of the things that we always talked about, Maryland's at the epicenter of this event, but we have really good stakeholders in Delaware and Southern Pennsylvania who are part of the environment that we're creating there. It's really a Mid-Atlantic event. Maryland just happens to be at the heart of it because of our facility and because of the team that we assembled and the investment we've made. So working through all the strategy with Jeff and his team is identifying who these partners are, making sure that, Delaware is aware of what's going on so the university can be readily accessible to us to help us, making sure we got the fan base coming in from that market. And Southern Pennsylvania, which has a really rich, farm community, a lot of horses raised there, a lot of beautiful, countryside there. They're looking for things to see as well. So the heads and beds, food and belly, gas and cards, credit card and cash counters and butts and seat model is still there. However, we're sharing the wealth around the Mid-Atlantic region with that. And that's important too, to show that we're good corporate partners across the regional lines. And I think that's what makes this event very unique as well.
Yeah.
Do you have that down, Jeff? That bellies, the seats and the beds, and he's got that down.
I got the butts and seats part, that's for sure.
All right.
Jeff's got that nailed.
Well, I'll add to what Terry says. I mean, our host partner is Cecil County. They've been absolutely amazing. And, frankly, as someone from Montgomery County, I had not been out to Cecil County before. I was focused on DC area and Montgomery County and Northern Virginia. But since I've been able to experience Cecil County, they have amazing restaurants, unbelievable scenery. And so I think when people come out to the event, especially as a multi-day event, they're going to have a great experience if they stay, in and nearby Cecil County. It's just an awesome location. So we want to continue to push that and let people know about what Cecil County has to offer, because it really is an amazing place in Maryland.
Before I ask you that question about your team, what is the website that you want people to go visit where they can find out the most about this event that's coming up October 14th to the 17th?
That's simply Maryland5star.us. Spell out Maryland, the number 5star.us. You can follow us on social at Maryland 5-Star. And we encourage people to sign up for our newsletter and again, follow us on social so they can get the latest and greatest on all things Maryland 5-Star.
And every time it's mentioned, the 5 is a number 5 in social media, right? I mean, that's its official name, the Maryland 5-Star at .us, not at .us, .us. Jeff, Terry's alluded a couple times to the team you put together there. You care to tell us a little bit about some of the key players in your team?
Absolutely, and I appreciate you asking. First off, we've partnered with the group that has run the event, the 3-star and the 4-star out there for many years, Fair Hill International. So they are our partner in helping us manage the competition components of the event. The Fair Hill Organizing Committee that we formed as an advisory committee and staff is put together for the commercial components of it, to help with the special events, to help with the retail and vendor experience that we'll have out there and the tailgating, et cetera. So our staff is made up of people that have grown up in the equestrian industry and those that are simply event producers. So we have a director of partnerships and experiential, ticketing and hospitality, of course, sponsorships, as well as competition managers. So we think we have a really good mixture of people to produce, again, a tentpole event for Maryland, and it should be a lot of fun.
All right. Do you guys think we hit on just about everything we needed to tonight on our first try at this? Because it's sometimes something is so big, it's tough to get your arms around. Is there any other point you'd like to make, Jeff or Terry?
I mean, I'd just like to add again that this is an incredibly unique experience that I was not aware of before I got involved in it. And when I saw it, I was absolutely blown away. So if people give it a chance to go out and experience a beautiful fall event outdoors and see what these horses can do, you'll be mesmerized. And we think you'll be hooked pretty quickly. So we just ask people, give us a chance to see a really cool event. And I think they'll be coming back for years to come.
All right. Terry, anything last you'd like to say?
No, I just, continue those who are supporting, continue to support Maryland 5star.us, and those who are looking for a unique opportunity to get involved and engage with something that is truly special. Also reach out to Maryland 5star.us or Jeff himself and there are all kinds of opportunities, to be involved with this event, and don't sit on the sidelines, get in the game.
All right. Terry Hasseltine and Jeff Newman from Maryland 5-Star, we appreciate your coming on and joining us. And as events warrant, as we get closer, love to do it again. Okay.
Outstanding. Thank you, Stan.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Dan.
Really appreciate it. Want to remind you that Pressbox Live has been brought to you by C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. And again, as I like to say, I know these guys, I like these guys, and I trust these guys. No more heavy expenditure on your home than the roof, and you got to get quality people working on your roof. That's C3 American Exteriors. For Jeff Newman, Terry Hasseltine, I'm Stan the Fan. I'll be back Monday night with Ross Grimsley, and we hope to have Jack Voigt, ex-Oriole outfielder, on with us then. Thanks for tuning in.